a broke teenager to the owner of the largest animation studio in the world, Walt Disney is considered an artistic genius, a pioneer, and a visionary. But there was a side to his genius they don't want you to know. Born on December 5, 1901 in Chicago, Illinois, to Elias Disney and Flora Disney, Walt was not a unique child. He was the fourth of 5 children and had 3 older brothers and a younger sister. Disney's early childhood was marked by several challenges. The first one was the family's financial instability. Second came his father's strict disciplinary style. And the third was the troubled relationship he had with his older brother Roy. Even with all these challenges, Disney managed to find peace and satisfaction in drawing. As a boy, he would often spend hours creating sketches and cartoons. He was just 4 years old. His family moved to a farm in Marceline, Missouri. Disney spent his formative years on the farm. Disney later claimed that the serene environment of the farm and the closeness to nature was a source of inspiration for many of his later creations, which include the Mickey Mouse character and many of the other animals he created later on. When Disney was 9 years old, his family moved to Kansas City, Missouri, where he attended the Benton Grammar School. While in school, he continued to develop his artistic skills, and his teachers recognized his talent and encouraged him to pursue a career in art. Disney's childhood experiences, including his time on the farm and his love of drawings and cartoons, would ultimately shape his creative vision and contribute to his success as a pioneer in the entertainment industry. Before he could ever go on to revolutionize the industry, Walt Disney joined the Red Cross in 1918 as an ambulance driver. Even though he was underage, he faked his birth certificate and got in. When he came back in 1919, he got a job as an apprentice at Pesman Rubin Commercial Art Studio. That business failed, so he had to look for another. But something wonderful happened here. He met and became friends with Ub Iwerks, one of his lifelong friends and the co-founder of his next business. Ub and Walt started the Iwerks Disney Commercial Artist. The studio was making art for ads, which means the 2 men were working for newspaper companies. But they didn't make a lot of money with this business model, so Disney was forced to join Laugh-O-Gram as an animator. Finally, Walt Disney was doing what he loved in Kansas City, producing animations. However, financial troubles followed, and the company went under. Disney liked the name, took it, and founded the second Laugh-O-Gram. After the initial success and after producing several cartoons, they went bankrupt just like the first business. He then took a brief job working for the Kansas City Ad Company, producing animated ads for businesses in Kansas. After this, he banded with his brother Roy, and they founded the Disney Brothers Studio in 1923. As the studio's success grew, Disney renamed it Walt Disney Studios, since he was overseeing operations, and his brother Roy was dealing with the back end of the business and controlling the finances. How did the company grow? Well, in the beginning, they could only afford to make short animated films. Walt Disney Studios' first major success was the Silly Symphony series. It began in 1929, and the first Silly Symphony short animated series they released was called The Skeleton Dance, featuring skeletons dancing in a graveyard. The film was a critical and commercial success, and it was followed by a series of other Silly Symphony shorts. The most successful of these shorts was The 3 Little Pigs, released in 1933. The film was an instant hit, and the main reason for this was the catchy tune of Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf. It slowly became a cultural phenomenon. The success of The 3 Little Pigs helped establish Walt Disney Studios as a major player in the animation industry and paved the way for future successes. The one thing that separated the Disney Brothers Studios from the rest was their almost perfect alignment of the cartoons to the music and the sound effects. While other shows drew the animations and added music later, Disney animators chose the music first and made the characters move according to it. Also, they paved the way with full-length animated movies. Until Disney came along, animation studios could only afford to make short animated movies, but he wanted to create a 90-minute animated movie. The first project of this kind was Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. It was released in 1937, and it became a major success. While everyone was calling Walt Disney crazy for trying such a daring stunt, he believed in his vision and made it happen. In the line of successes, later came Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, and Bambi. They were so revolutionary for their time that they created a whole cultural movement along with Mickey Mouse. As the success of the company grew, Walt Disney wanted to expand. He had been dreaming about creating an amusement park, but this wasn't going to be like the other amusement parks at the time. The entire park would only feature characters from Disney movies. Many investors turned down his idea. But in the early 1950s, Disney began looking for a location to build his park. He knew that he could improve the amusement parks of the time, so he persisted. Disney eventually settled on a 160-acre site in Anaheim, not far from his film studio in Burbank. He oversaw every aspect of the park's design and construction, from the layout of the rides to the placement of the trash cans. In Disney's mind, everything had to be perfect. Disneyland opened on July 17, 1955, and was an immediate success. It featured a wide variety of attractions including the Jungle Cruise, the Matterhorn bobsleds, and the Sleeping Beauty Castle. The park also had several themed areas, such as Main Street USA, Adventureland, and Fantasyland. At first, the park wasn't fully completed. People could see that there were areas still under construction, but they didn't mind. And looking back on it, we can see why they loved the park so much. While Disney was known for his creative vision and his dedication to creating high-quality films and animation, the man provided many opportunities for talented artists, animators, and other workers to pursue their passions and develop their skills. And here's the big but. Despite all that, many people criticized Disney's treatment of workers. In the early years of his studio, Disney was known for paying low wages and demanding long hours from his employees. Some workers complained of poor working conditions, including inadequate ventilation and a lack of safety precautions. In the 1940s, many of Disney's animators went on strike. They wanted to protest the low wages and poor working conditions at the company. At first, Disney resisted their demands, but he eventually agreed to make some changes. After long negotiations, he decided to increase their salaries and improve their working conditions. He wasn't one to shy away from firing his employees at the drop of a hat. For example, for his 35th birthday, the animators decided to surprise their boss with an explicit cartoon of Mickey and Minnie Walt's iconic characters. Some consider this to be a cartoon version of how Walt treated his employees. He sat quietly, watched the cartoon, applauded the effort, and then called the creators to step forward. Once they did, he fired them all on the spot and went home without saying a word. Because he was firing animators who didn't agree to his quote-unquote regime, many of them finally banded together and formed a rival company called UPA. But since we don't even know the name of this company, we're going to go out on a limb and say they weren't big rivals to Walt Disney. So call him what you will, but you cannot say he was a saint. Walt Disney was everything but a saint. He was a pioneer. He was a genius. He was also a heavy drinker and smoker. He was almost driven to a breakdown when he found out his wife was pregnant, and the Belfast Telegraph called him Street Anger House Devil. While he did revolutionize the world of animation, we just wanted to give you the full picture of the man that founded one of the largest companies in the entire world right now. Smash that subscribe button just like you should if you haven't done that already. But no, seriously no, you'll love these videos next.